What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Stocks with Mike and Tom show. We have so much important news to go over in today's video. We have Apple skyrocketing in after hours. In today's video, we're going to be talking about what's going on with Powell, Facebook earnings, Qualcomm earnings, and we even have some Bitcoin news. But guys, we have a new Stocked Up phone number. Text Stocked Up to 39970, where we're just going to be sending out market updates and, just stuff, Stocked Up related. We send out an update regarding Powell today, so it text Stocked Up to 39970 for more information like that. But like I said, we have a lot of important information to go over in today's video. Apple is just popping. So Tom, what's going on with this? Do they have like good earnings numbers? I see that they're skyrocketing.
Yeah, great earnings, and CNBC reports that Apple had a blowout quarter today, announcing company-wide sales are up 54% higher than last year, and they really beat Wall Street's expected profits. And this is huge numbers, guys. They have a 1.40 EPS versus a 0.99 estimate. Their revenue was $89.58 billion versus $77.36 billion estimated, also up 53.7% year over year. They killed their iPhone revenue, MacBook revenue, and pretty much all their other revenue. They have the services revenue and plenty of other revenue streams, and they killed all of that. Plus, in China, they're actually up 87% year over year in China, Hong Kong, and Taiwan all combined. So that's a great thing to hear going over there as well. So it seems like Apple's doing great all around the world right now. They blew out all of their earnings. That MacBook earnings and the iPhone earnings are great. Their revenue beat by over $10 billion on the estimate, so that's huge, and it's just rocketing up in after hours. And we've seen Apple split in the past, and it's just awesome to see them keep going up after they do those splits.
Awesome stuff. So like you said, they basically killed all of their numbers. Their Mac revenue is up 70% year over year. Their iPad revenue is up 79% year over year. And then on top of that, they are going to be doing about $90 billion worth of share buyback. So, this is all just amazing news for Apple stock. And it's definitely reflecting that in after hours. They're popping up right around, let's say right around 138 right now. So it's definitely looking pretty solid.
Yeah, for sure. And then there's even more earnings that came out. We have they actually had great earnings as well, and they're up, but you can see how volatile this one's been, but they're hovering up around 324 right now. They had a 3.30 EPS versus a 2.37 estimate, so they beat that pretty good. And then their revenue was 26.17 billion versus 23.67 billion. But the big stuff is their active users. Their monthly active users is 2.85 billion versus a 2.86 billion forecast, but that's still a lot of people. And the daily active users is 1.88 billion versus a 1.89 billion forecast. So they didn't miss on those, but they didn't hit on them too well. But it's still just great stuff to hear. And they're also up 48% year over year on their revenue. So it's just all overall great earnings today in after hours on these two companies. And then Qualcomm even killed their earnings as well, destroying their revenue beats, growing 52% year over year.
Sounds great. So if we look at an intraday chart of the SPY today, we saw a lot of volatility, but it only closed down 0.03%. But, we opened up, the market started to run up a little bit, then it came down to test a low day, and then it just had so much crazy movement, like when Powell started to speak. But overall, we are up in after hours. So what did Powell say today?
Yeah, he had some pretty interesting stuff. And as expected, he kind of just reiterated that the U.S. Central Bank has decided to keep short-term interest rates anchored near zero, as they said that they're going to be doing. And they're also going to be having $120 billion of bonds. They're going to be buying $120 billion of bonds each month, I should say. But also regarding inflation, he said that the Fed will use their tools to guide inflation down if it looks like it will steadily go above 2%. And they've been talking about this 2% number on inflation, and he said that they've been around 1.7%, and he said that they're going to let inflation go up. It whenever they do this, they're controlling it. So if it goes up too much, they're going to use their tools to bring it back down, he said. And he said that's the big thing. And in his words, he said it will take some time before we see substantial further progress. So that's just showing that they're pretty much reiterating that they're going to keep these rates near zero, and everything's just going to be going as planned with inflation and everything, how they're going to let it go up above those numbers, and it's not too worrisome because, like you said, if it goes too high, they'll bring it back down.
Very interesting. And I know that there's been a lot of talk on Wall Street with Bitcoin, like MARA and RIOT. Those stocks have been doing very well over the past year. They are Bitcoin related. We all know Bitcoin's exploding. And I heard there was some talk with like a possible Bitcoin ETF. Are there any updates on that?
Yeah, I'm actually pretty sad today. CNBC reports that the SEC decided on Wednesday to delay their decision on approving Vanex's Bitcoin ETF all the way until June. And some Bitcoin watchers believed that 2021 could finally be the year a Bitcoin ETF is finally approved thanks to the Senate's confirmation of Gary Gensler to lead the SEC. And that's a pretty big deal, but in the end, it looks like that they're going to keep delaying this, and it's just a bad thing to see. And we really saw Riot and Mara tank off in after hours today. And if we go to slash BTC, which is Bitcoin futures, you can see how drastic this move was. It moved Bitcoin from 56,250 all the way down to around 54,400 or 54,500. So it definitely played a big impact on Bitcoin here. But hopefully in the longer run, we get this Bitcoin ETF because it'll be a pretty awesome ticker to trade, I think.
Sounds good. I'm just looking at this Apple chart and I'm still just like in awe. I mean, some of these numbers that they reported were just crazy. Like, Apple is a huge company as it is, but, their revenue is up 53% year over year. They truly are a powerhouse. Plus, they have that 90 billion worth of share buybacks. And, they're not even at their all-time highs right now, but I'll tell you, they're getting really close.
Yeah, for sure. And then they're even talking about doing EVs now as well. We've been hearing possible stuff with like Apple and Lucid Motors, and that could be a big deal for the future. And with a couple of other companies as well. And we know that Tim Cook's been eyeing up the EV sector for a little while now, and it's just another one of those added things that makes Apple so great. They just keep innovating and innovating, and they had those new iPhones come out this year that did very well. The iPhone revenue is up 65.5% year over year. So it just seems like they just keep innovating, they just keep getting those sales, and they just keep proving to people that they are the powerhouse when it comes to tech and phones and stuff like that for the future.
For sure. Like you said, they're starting to get into EVs, and I know they even started to make their own chips. So overall, they're a powerhouse, and they're hard to bet against. But let's get right into the member of the day and the momentum plays. So today's member of the day, we have Jacktastic. So huge shout out, Jacktastic. Thanks so much for the great questions, and thanks for commenting on our videos. They really help us. Comments really help us grow our channel. So thank you so much for the support. But let's get right into the momentum plays for tomorrow. And with the first one, we have ENPH to the downside.
Yep, and with Enphase, go ahead and make it. Let's see, what's the low of today? All the way earlier, they had terrible earnings yesterday, like we saw, but make them fall below 144.50 to the downside.
All right, and then we have Microsoft also to the downside.
Yep, with Microsoft, wow, look at that weird candle there. That might be a little bit of a glitch, but go ahead and make them fall below 253.
All right, and then we have Pinterest also to the downside.
Yeah, everything's down today, but make them fall below 65.83.
Except Apple.
Yeah.
Then we have CGC.
CGC, a marijuana stock, and this one's to the upside. Make it break above 28.38.
All right, so we are eyeing Enphase, Microsoft, and Pinterest for potential day trades tomorrow, only if they break below the levels Tom listed. And we are eyeing CGC for a potential day trade to the upside tomorrow, only if it breaks above the level Tom listed. But let's get right into the $7.5 million options trade that expires this Friday, April 30th. We are looking at the AMD 85 strike call options that expired this Friday. Like I said, there was $7.5 million put into this play. And it's hard to say because AMD actually gapped up today on good earnings, but they had no momentum. They actually ended up closing red. So this is not a good sign for me. I'm going to lean towards that these are like covered calls or something like that. I mean, this setup doesn't look too good to me. So I'm kind of leaning towards they're shorting these calls. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I would think so too. It's definitely not a good setup. They hit off of that $90 resistance and came right back to the downside. If they are longing these, I would think that they would know something's up. But honestly, like you said, I would think it's covered calls as well. AMD was looking so good yesterday, and then today it opened. I don't know what happened, but it just fell way off the board all the way back down to 84, $85, which was pretty unfortunate to see. And man, I mean, I've been looking at AMD for a little while now, and it was looking so nice yesterday. I just did not expect this type of sell off, but that's just what happens with earnings. And whenever we saw the SPY really start to fall down today, early on, then I think that's the main reason why some of these stocks just followed it.
Alrighty, well, let's get right into our questions from the previous episode. And with the first question, we have Piper asking about MVIS. So MVIS, I know this stock has a ton of hype behind it. I know a lot of people on Wall Street Bets were talking about it. So you have to be really careful with this one because they do report earnings tomorrow after close. They are very close to highs, right around like $28. It's not their all-time high. It looks like they actually, it looks like they came down a lot from like their highs in 2000. It looks like they hit highs of like around $548. I don't know if they had some splits in there, but either way, I'm going to stay neutral on this one. Earnings are always so unpredictable, so I'm just officially going to stay neutral.
Yeah, me too. It's not looking too good. There's a decent support right around $20 if you want to play off of that, but other than that, I wouldn't touch the stock.
Sounds good. With the next question, we have Dan saying, awesome video, guys. What is your favorite stock? So for me, it's going to be DraftKings. I'm a huge fan of their business model. And even though they haven't been doing too much over like the past month, I think they have a ton of room for, growth over the next couple of years. So I'm definitely going to say DraftKings.
Yeah, that's actually a really good pick there, Mike. That stock is definitely due to grow over the next few years, and like you said, all these different states are just going to start legalizing sports betting, which will just grow their revenue potential there. And then my favorite stock, I think, is just going to be ARKX for the next few years. I'm really looking at this Space Innovations ETF, and they hold a lot of different stocks as well, so I think it'll be pretty decent. Some of them are at highs though, so I am a little worried that over the next year or two it will fall, but over the next 5 to 10 years, I think we'll see a lot of very substantial growth out of this.
Alrighty, and then with the next question, we have Jack Tastic saying, awesome video as always. What do you think of GEVO? So they are down around 55% from all-time highs. They have a really strong support at $6. So I think this looks pretty good for like a dip buy. I'm not a huge fan of it for the long term, but I think it's gonna be a pretty solid play like over like the next couple months, especially. I really like that support right around $6. It should be pretty good for some cash secured puts.
Yeah, and I thought it was awesome today how it broke above $7.20 intraday and broke some of these SMAs also. So definitely watch for it to keep running tomorrow. If it breaks like 740 to the upside, I think it could be pretty good, especially with it being above all these supports and above the SMAs. It's starting to look pretty good for maybe another run. But whenever I look at the max daily, it doesn't look too good there. But some of these stocks just look like that. You keep in mind they're always risky. You just have to play the short, quick moves and make them into day trades.
All right, and then we have Brett talking about Boeing. So Boeing actually fell around 3% today. They have a really strong support at $230. Right now it's sitting right around $235. So I think there should be some pretty good opportunity to like day trade it in between those levels. And if we do fall below 230, that will not be a good sign. I like it for the long term, but it looks like they are just kind of like doing like a slow fall off of earnings. What do you think?
Yeah, it actually looks like a pretty bearish setup right now, unfortunately. I'm pretty happy about that. I sold my shares up there before the fall started happening, so that's good for me at least. Hopefully it keeps going down so I can buy some more shares or do cash secured puts on Boeing. I actually really love this one for the longer term, but as of right now, I wouldn't be buying it just because of what I'm looking at. I think we could get it a little bit lower or start to get better premiums if it starts to go down.
All right, well, Tom, what are some of the top stocks you're watching for tomorrow?
Yeah, one of my favorite ones is actually going to be Chargepoint. They had a new deal today with General Motors where General Motors is going to be using some of these charging companies like BLNK and CHPT. But Chargepoint has a really big short float. It's around 75 to 76%. The float's 10.72 million right now with around 277 million shares outstanding. And a 76% short float's pretty big. It's not as big as GameStop or something like that, but that's still a pretty big short float. And we can see at the end of the day today, it started popping pretty significantly, and we saw a whole bunch of volume come in. And there's been a bunch of talk about this possibly getting pushed up and the shorts getting crushed, kind of like what happened with GME. So just be on the lookout. It probably won't go up as much as GME did, but it's looking pretty good off this $20 support. And it looks like we could possibly go to the top of the range, somewhere around $30 to $31 over the next few days on this one.
Sounds great. Well, guys, don't forget to text StockedUp to 39970. We'll be sending market updates and things like that through that phone number. But thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to trade with Tom and I every single day, day trades, swing trades, and access to our bots, you can click the first link in the description down below for about $40 off. And also, don't forget to subscribe to our new live trading channel. The link will also be in the description down below. Tom and I have been going live every single day around market open, so feel free to come and join us on the new channel. If you have any questions, let us know in the comments down below. But other than that, thanks for watching.